You want to find that drive and focus that has you locked in and on fire every single day? My book, The Mirror Motivation, will do it for you. I bought a copy for you. You take care of the shipping. The book is free. Click the link down there. I got you. Make the most of our opportunity. You are now tuned in to the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. This is the go-getter energy that moves you to make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. Putting all this together, you get the mindset, the method, the podcast, the philosophy, the book, known as Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day. Welcome to the show. Today's topic is how to give without expectation. This topic is about abundance thinking, and I'll refer you to episode number 113, whose title is just that, abundance thinking. This is about you understanding that the people who have the most in life, whatever it is that you would want to have, they are also coincidentally the people who give the most. People who have the most are those who give the most. If you look at the people who you know in your life, your associations, and think of people who have the most, or at least you believe they have the most. They appear to have the most. And you can see it for yourself that they're always giving. So how does this happen and why does it happen? And that's what we're going to address here today. And the answer to the question actually is giving without expectation. But I'm going to explain in more detail exactly what that means. And those of you who have found yourselves maybe wanting to have more, but you don't quite have what you want, I think what I'm going to talk about here today will be an answer to your question, how you can get those things that you want to have. And I think everybody in life is trying to have something. Either you're trying to make more money, you're trying to get more known if you're building the brand, you're trying to sell more products if you're running a business. Everyone's trying to acquire more stuff. We're all trying to intake more on some levels. There are some people who are more trying to give, but a lot of us, at least the people that I come across, people who I hear from, we're trying to acquire. Everybody's trying to get better in some way, get money in some way, get known in some way, sell more stuff, somehow bring in more for themselves. Now, of course, you understand that you can't get anything without giving anything. But today I'm going to speak on this from a different angle, a unique angle, an angle that many people never even consider, let alone do they follow. And should you follow this, first of all, you're going to have a whole lot less competition. Second of all, you're not even really going to have competition. There's not a lot of competition for giving. There's a lot of competition for getting. There's not too much competition for giving. So today's episode this could shine a really bright light on some ideas for you on how you can, by the indirect route, get more of what you want in life. So please pay very close attention, bookmark this episode, and of course it will be available to all gang group members in perpetuity as long as you're a member of the gang group. If you go to workonmygame.com/gang group, the link is in the notes to this show wherever you're listening to this, to where you can join and get started right now and get access to all the episodes of the show, not just this one. Point number 1. Today's topic is how to give without expectation. The first phrase that you need to etch into your mind, tattoo it onto your brain, write it down somewhere, type it out and print it out in big letters and put it above your computer or on your bathroom mirror or anywhere that you're going to see it every single day. Here's the phrase. Remember this phrase and start using it. There's more where that came from. This is the phrase of abundance. I'm going to say it again. There's more where that came from. The only people who use this phrase are those who have a mindset of abundance, at least when it comes to whatever they're talking about, whatever that is that it came from. You can say there's more where that came from when you know that you have or you will have more of whatever it is you just gave, so you don't have a problem with giving. See, people who know that they have more money don't have a problem giving money. People who know that they have more knowledge, more information, more ideas, don't have a problem giving out knowledge, information, and ideas. Those who know that they will have more energy, or they're going to have more energy, or they have more energy right now, they don't have a problem utilizing their energy. They're not trying to save it. They're not trying to hoard it. You know that everything's coming back to you when you have a mindset of abundance. A mindset of abundance does not mean you get as much as you can and you just hold it and lock it down in the safe so nobody can get to it and sit on top of it so nobody can steal it from you. That's hoarding. All right, that's the mindset of scarcity, because you're doing that out of, at some level, of fear that you'll lose it and not be able to get it back. When you have a mindset of abundance, you don't have a problem giving, and you're not expecting to get anything in return for your giving. You probably will get something, but you're not doing it because you expect to get something back, because you already understand there's a whole lot more where it came from. So even if I don't get it back, I'll give something to you, because even if I don't get it back from you, I know I'm going to get it back, because I already understand. I know this in my bones and my soul, that through this mindset of abundance, anything that I give, karma is going to find a way to give it back to me. Now, again, if you're not a person, if you don't consider yourself a spiritual person, if you don't claim any type of religion, you're not into any of this woo-woo stuff, if you want to call it that I'm talking about right now, let me ask you this. You do agree with the law of karma, do you not? I've never had anyone tell me that they don't agree with karma. Everyone agrees that the energy that we put out is the energy that we get back. Therefore, if you are willing and able, and you do give without an expectation of receiving anything back, the law of karma is going to work in your favor no matter what you do, because you've given without expectation. Even if you claim no religion, you claim no spirituality, you're not into any of that stuff, if you want to call it that, the law of karma you do agree with. And the law of karma works whether you agree with it or not. All right, whether you decide to acknowledge it or talk about it or not, it works. And you can look at your own life and you can see examples of it. It doesn't always work immediately, like we talked about yesterday. Sometimes it's instant gratification, sometimes there's delayed gratification, but there will always be payback for every action that you take. You agree? The universe keeps perfect books. It is always in balance. It knows exactly who it owes, and it knows who owes it. Everyone agrees with that. So knowing this, when you have this mindset of abundance that you have or will have more, you don't have a problem giving, because you know it's all coming back to you, because you agree with karma. In the book, The Go-Giver, which is written by John David Berg and David Mann. If you haven't read that book, I suggest you read it. They also wrote another book that's called It's Not About You. You should read both of those books, and you can read them probably in a day or two, maybe 3 if you're a slow reader. One of the principles that they shared in The Go-Giver is that the key to giving is receiving. The key to being a great giver is to be a great receiver. What that means is, this is another connection to the law of karma, because again, you may be thinking to yourself, wait a minute, shouldn't it be the other way around? The key to great receiving is both. It's vice versa. They both apply to each other. The law of karma again states that the energy that we put out is the energy that we get back. So if the key to giving, the energy we put out, is being a great receiver, is that we accept the fact that the energy that we put out into the universe is going to come back to us in some way, shape, or form. All right, you just have to accept that. So if you put something out there that you weren't too proud of, understand that something that you're not too proud of is going to come back around to you at some point in some form. You just have to accept that, and accept that that's just the universe balancing its checkbook with you. And at the same time, the other way around, when you receive something that is really great and you really appreciate it, and it feels amazing to have received it, then at some level you're going to have to put something out there to the universe that is also really great and is going to make somebody else feel good. Maybe a bunch of people feel good. If you don't do it, then the universe will extract what you owe from you against your wishes. One way or another, you're going to pay it back. That's just the way that it works. That's just the way that karma works. And again, everybody agrees with karma. Okay? So this is not going over anybody's head. You know that everything's coming back to you. The Go-Giver said the key to giving is being a great receiver. Here's the other thing about receiving. And I mentioned this before. I want to mention it again because it's a really good point that I had never thought of until I read it in this book, The Go-Giver. Again, that's John David Berg and David Mann. Bob Berg and John David Mann. Those are the authors. The book is called The Go-Giver. You can find it. They said that when you receive something, being open to receiving the benefits of the universe, the abundance of the universe, the money, the time, the happiness, the friends, or whatever, when that's given to you, when something is bestowed upon you, whether someone gives you a gift, something fortunate happens to you, you just are experiencing an abundance, at least at this period in your life, your openness to receiving it and how graciously you receive things is the payback enough to whomever or whatever has given it to you. In other words, if someone offers you a gift and you feel like, because you have a scarcity mindset, because that person gave me a gift, I had to give them a gift. If someone did something for me, I had to do something for them. That's a scarcity mindset. That's the mindset of, all right, it has to be tit for tat. All right, they did something, so I have to do something. That is, in the Go Giver, they say that's the exact wrong way to go about things. When someone gives you a gift, their blessing, the giver of the gift, their blessing is knowing that they did something good for you that made you happy. That's what they get. That's the payback, is knowing that you're happy, knowing that you appreciate it, knowing that them knowing that they did something good for you. That's the payback. Everybody's even when that happens. But as soon as you turn it into a transaction, oh, you gave me something, now I got to do something for you, I got to give you something. Now it becomes a transaction. Now the whole energy thing just got swept away. Now you just destroyed the whole thing. Now you just destroyed all the good karmic energy that they got. You destroyed it as soon as you made it into a transaction. And I talked about this in the previous episode. We talked about stop keeping score in your relationships, right? We're going to talk about that in point number 2 as we get deeper into this episode. Giving and receiving is a cycle that perpetuates itself, ladies and gentlemen. And if you are a person who is not open to either one, if you're not open to giving, you're a person who doesn't like to give of yourself, of your possessions, of your material, of your ideas, of your energy. If you're a person who doesn't like to give, it'll be very hard for you to receive. And if you're a person who is not good at receiving, maybe you just have some bad energy, you got some blockages when it comes to energy. You're not good at receiving, meaning you don't like someone to just give you something without giving them something in exchange. Maybe you're suspicious when someone gives you something without asking something back, because that's just the way you've been conditioned by your environment, by your associations. When you have bad energy for receiving, it'll be very hard for you to give, because it's hard for you to receive. If you can't receive anything, then you're not going to be able to give anything. And you probably won't have much to give of, because you can't receive anything. How are you going to give? You ain't got nothing. You got to receive something to give back, right? So if you're bad at receiving, it's going to be very hard for you to give. And if you're bad at giving, it's going to be hard for you to receive, which means you're perpetuating on your own a cycle of bad karma that you probably don't want in your life. And I would suspect, knowing the numbers of people who listen to this show, that there are probably some of you who's going through this right now. And if you're listening to what I'm saying, then you should be going and getting the resources that I'm referring to. The book I've referred to and the episode that I've already referred to here today. I've referred to 2 episodes and a book. You should be getting them all right now, so you can get that energy blockage cleared up. Because giving and receiving, again, is a self-perpetuating cycle. You can't have one without the other. For you to give something to somebody, somebody got to take it. Somebody got to receive it. And for you to receive something, somebody has to give it, or something has to give it. So if you block that cycle by being a bad recipient or a stingy giver, then you're blocking the whole cycle of karma, and karma will open you up in its own way. It probably won't be too comfortable for you. So I suggest you really pay attention to what I'm saying here. Take heed to what I'm saying. And again, arm yourself with the resources that I'm referring you to, so you can get as much of this energy working in your favor as possible. And you got to undo some of the bad energy you might already have. Every act of giving, again, requires a recipient, and vice versa. Point number 2. Today's topic is how to give without expectation. Do not think of everything as a transaction. Stop treating your life and your relationships as transactions. We talked about this just recently in episode number 1234. The topic is relationships, stop keeping score. Any of you who's a scorekeeper in a relationship, or if you know anyone who's a scorekeeper in a relationship, someone gives you something, they got to give. You give them something, they got to give you something back. They give you something, they're expecting to get something back. You can almost feel their energy even if they don't say it out loud. Don't make transactions out of every relationship or everything that you do in life. Since you have a mindset of abundance already, like we talked about in point number 1, right? Since you have the mindset of abundance, you know that you can give without, quote, getting, quote unquote. You're going to get back. The energy of the universe is going to pay you back one way or another. But understand, you don't have to force it. You don't have to go chasing that ROI. You don't have to go say, hey, universe, I gave something yesterday. No, don't do that. You're going to get back one way or another. And you don't have to worry about chasing around karma to make sure that it knows that it's supposed to pay you back, because you already have a mindset of abundance, right? You already know that there is more where that came from, right? You already know this. So you don't have to carry around the energy of when am I going to get mine back, because it's coming already. And you can almost feel it. Those of you who have any experience with doing the yoga or meditation, or you taking any type of what's the phrase? I can't even remember the phrase, but if you've done any type of spirituality work or any of that stuff, then you already know that you can feel it inside of yourself, because it kind of conditions you when you do that stuff. Meditation, yoga, any type of spirituality work, mindfulness, that's the word that I'm looking for. It kind of conditions you in such a way that when you're doing something that you know the karma is not right, you can feel it. You can feel when the karma is not right. When you're around a person and the energy is not right, you can feel it. And when it is right, you can feel that as well. That's your unconscious mind. That's it, as Napoleon Hill called it, infinite intelligence communicating with your unconscious mind. It's all one. All right. And I'm not an expert at any of this stuff. There are people who can explain a whole lot better than me, but I want to keep it as basic as possible so everyone can understand this. And understand that even if you're not into any of the stuff that I've talked about, again, you've never done yoga or meditation or any spirituality or mindfulness, any of that stuff, understand it still applies to you. All right, because the law of the universe, again, is karma, and everyone understands and agrees with karma. So again, I'm always going to keep bringing it back to that, because everyone understands and agrees with that. Point number 3. Today's topic is how to give without expectation. Let's talk about power. Yes, power. Now, everybody wants power in some way, shape, or form. Some people want it more than others. Some people want to be president of the United States. Some people want to be king or queen of the world. Some people want to start their own company and have 6,000 employees. But every single one of us, at least at the lowest level, we want to have power over our own lives. We want to have power over dictate. We want to have the ability to dictate things in our own lives. That's power. Your ability to call the shots in your own life is power. And if you ever felt like you weren't able to call the shots in your own life, you feel powerless. And that's a rotten feeling. Nobody wants to feel like they don't have the ability to call the shots in their own life. And maybe you've been in a situation in your life when you weren't able to call the shots, and it really doesn't feel good because you don't have control over what's going on. So we all want power, at least at that level. And I want you to understand something. People who have power are givers. Powerful people give. Who's the most powerful person you know? That you know in person? Like, you could call them, and if they saw you on the street, they would know who you were. They would stop and talk to you. Who's the most powerful person you know? I guarantee they're a giving individual. That they usually give more than they receive. They usually give more than anyone thought they would give. The most powerful people are the most giving individuals. Why? Because they have a mindset of abundance. There's more where that came from. Why? Because they don't make a transaction out of everything. Even though they may be a great business person, maybe they do a whole lot of transactions, they don't make a transaction out of everything. That's how they get into power. They're willing to give. Powerful people know they can give freely of themselves and of their whatever that they give. They know they can give freely because they already have what they need. They don't have a problem giving because everything that they need, they have. And no matter how much they give, they're still going to have what they have. And I mean, this can be mentally, it can be tangibly, it can be both. Material wise, it can be mindset wise, energy wise, all of it. They're willing to give because they know they already got it. When you already have what you need, you don't have a problem giving. As they say, as I've said, I said this in my book, Work on Your Game. The be, do, have principle is what? In order to have what you want to have, you got to do certain things. Everyone understands those 2 points. But it's the being part. Who you are as a person matters more than even what you do and what you have. Because if someone stops you from doing what you do, who you are as a person will somehow, some way, you'll find another way to do something else in order to keep getting those same results, to get the same halves that you've been having. If someone took away everything that you had, as long as you are still being the same person, you will eventually have all of those things all over again. This is how, if any of you ever read anyone talking about these principles of who you become as a person is more valuable than what you have and what you do. Maybe you heard me talk about it because I've done whole episodes on this very principle, which are all available in the game group. Who you are as a person is worth more than what you've got, simply because the person that you become you become a machine that can produce results anytime you want to. And that goes hand in hand, not only with the be, do, have principle, but also everything we've been talking about here today. Who you become as an individual is you're a radiating living entity. That's just scientifically. We're all radiating energy at all times. This is how we can feel somebody else's energy and know that it's good or bad based on how they present themselves. And when you are a person of abundance, you know that there's more where that came from. Even if you lost everything, even if you were stripped of everything, it wouldn't be long before you started to accumulate all over again. Not because your whole mindset is about getting, but you have no choice but to get, because the most powerful people are those who give without expectation. They give without keeping score on everything because they know the universe is the best scorekeeper there is. Let's recap today's topic, which is how to give without expectation. I'll refer you again to episode number 113, which is on abundance thinking. If you haven't listened to that episode, I suggest you go listen to it now, because the game group is offering a free 2-week trial. So go listen to it right now. If you do nothing else in the game group, do that. But you're going to do a whole lot of other things because we got so much material in there, you can't stop. It's like eating potato chips. Point number 1. People who have the most are also coincidentally the people who give the most. If you look at the most powerful people, you can see it for yourself. Don't take my word for it. So how does this happen and why does it happen? Point number 1, the mindset of abundance. Here's your phrase. Keep this in mind. Start using it every single day. There is more where that came from. You know that you have, or you will have more, so you don't have a problem giving. Giving what? Whatever you want to give, because you know you got more of it. You know it's all coming back to you. Read the book, The Go-Giver. The key to being a great giver is being a great receiver, because giving and receiving is a perpetuating cycle. For every give, there has to be a recipient, and for every recipient, there has to be a giver. Do not block this cycle because it won't go well for you. Every act of giving requires the recipient, and again, vice versa. Number 2, don't think of everything as a transaction. In episode number 1234, talked about relationships. Stop keeping score. If you have a mindset of abundance already, you know you can give without, quote, getting, close quote, because it's more where that came from anyway. And point number 3, power. Everybody wants power in some way. At least we all want power for the ability to dictate things in our own lives. People who have power are givers. We know we can give freely of ourselves because we already have what we need mentally, if not tangibly, also spiritually, emotionally, and every other way. The principle is be, do, have. Who you are being is more valuable than even what you do, and more valuable than what you have. You take away what you have and your ability to do what you do. If you're still being the same person, you will recreate everything that was taken away from you immediately. Now, if you take away who you're being, the things that you have and the things that you do will not bring back who you were as a person. That's why being is the most important principle of all of it. Now, in the game group, every episode of this podcast, everything that I've ever referred to, the videos, the books, the articles, the book review cheat sheets, my TED Talks, and the background commentary on them, the 6 game group exclusive courses, and the more courses I will be adding in the future. Every single episode of this show, 1,300 masterclass audios from the Work on Your Game podcast, all available in the game group. They are not available anywhere else in the world, anywhere else on the web. I am the most prolific content creator in the history of the internet. There's no one who's created more content online than me. If there is, name them. Exactly, nobody. And I put it all into the game group. Go to workonmygame.com/game group. Start your free 14-day trial right now. Work on your game. Dre all day.